Oh, hey there. Sorry, I'm looking through the new Criterion movie catalog. Um, while I got you, I want to just real quickly. I just wanted to, yeah, real quickly for me is 10 minutes. Real quickly, I wanted to talk about maybe a lot of people don't understand the relationship between plants, the human body, nature, minerals, and things like that. You see, a plant grows in the ground, right? It grows in the earth. And the nutrients that that plant needs to grow and do its thing and then eventually, hopefully, bear fruit, which is what it wants to do, many animals will come to eat that fruit. So once it drops and falls from the plant or the tree, it's intended to be eaten, and that's a beautiful thing. You see, many of these things, ants and bugs and beetles, will carry seeds away, while birds will eat the berries and will eat the fruit and the fleshiness, while they also consume the seeds, which cannot be digested by the bird's intestinal system. So the bird will poop it out through its intestinal system, and this seed will land someplace probably completely different from where it was born, because birds fly. The same will happen with fish and so many other things. So that's how plants get spread around. Not to mention pollinators, pollinating plants, and seed floaters. Now, these are plants that literally shoot their seeds and their stuff out into the universe, hoping that two will meet and create a whole new one. That to me is fascinating. Plants are fascinating and they're amazing. And that's probably why I take offense from the argument that vegans use about how killing animals is cruel and we shouldn't be doing that and we should only be eating plants. Plants are alive. It's a living thing. I don't care if it doesn't scream when you cut it, chop it. It is alive. And all living things have equal value. Not one living thing on this planet deserves to be here any more or any less than any other thing on this planet. And what I mean by that is if all of a sudden every single ant on the planet were the size of the Empire State Building, of course, all other animals would cease to exist if they chose it. They could completely destroy the entire planet. They would eat every single organic thing on this planet in less than a year. That's how much food they would need to consume. So, would that be a bad thing? Is it cruel? No, it's nature. It's the way things happen. What isn't nature is for one animal to stop in its tracks and start saying that this animal and that animal has more or less value. If you have such a low value for plants, then wipe them off the planet for a year. Remove every plant from the planet for a year. We'll all die. Every single warm-blooded, air-breathing animal on the planet will die. There will no longer be any oxygen. There won't be any rainforests to hold in that important oxygen. People just don't get it. People don't realize that pollution and destroying of the ozone layer and all of that, guess where the damage is being done? That's why Americans don't care. Because when you do the damage, it's happening in New Zealand. It's happening in Australia. They're the ones that have the missing ozone layer. That's why in many parts of both those places, it is the law for you to wear a hat, which is why they have the reputation for wearing sun protection on their head. Because in Australia, if you don't, you'll die of cancer. That sun will burn you alive. Anyway, that has nothing to do with why I even have you here today. But you did get a little peek at my passion for what I talk about. I usually try to restrain it. Plants pull the nutrients they need to grow out of the soil. The plant is only as good as the soil it draws from. And I hate to be mean or sound callous, but a human child is only as good from the mother and father that it pulls from. And mother and father fornicated. And if father and mother weren't healthy when they did so, if their minerals were depleted, if their vitamins were low, they gave forth a weak egg and weak semen and created a weak child. It's that simple. It is a simple scientific fact. If you are not able to maintain the minerals and vitamins and amino acids that are required to give birth and create a human child within your own body, then you will steal it from other parts of your body to make it happen. And if you're stealing from your own brain and your own bones and your own cartilage and your own muscle tissue, imagine how it's going to affect that growing fetus. This is how autism happens. Neurological problems are usually from a lack of magnesium and calcium in the diet. We're not judging here. We don't know any better. You can actually do everything perfectly, and there can still be complications. But what I am saying is that these are the things that are required to create perfect, healthy plants. No different than creating perfect, healthy humans. Imperfect plants are not good for us to eat. And the soil is so bad. The soil is so bad that all the plants are imperfect now. Imperfect plants, and that's what we're eating. We're putting into our bodies imperfect things. People say you microwave this and you remove all the nutrients. What nutrients? The things you're putting in a microwave didn't have any nutrients to begin with, so don't whine and complain. 98% of what we do when we eat is satisfying taste buds and our tummy. And that's it. I'm hungry and I want to make sure it tastes good. I was in the store the other day, just walking through the store, and this husband and wife were arguing with one another. And the husband goes, I need to go get some sugar. Stormed off. What? Who says that? Somebody who was raised on Lucky Charms and Fruity Pebbles? I was. My mom cooked actually a decent breakfast 5 days out of the week, and I think we pretty much got older and started whining and complaining about having to eat eggs and oatmeal and cream of wheat and things like that for breakfast. That's good. But marketing and advertisers convinced parents that the best thing for your kid was a bowl of sugar with lactose poured on top of it, and then pork, bacon. Anyway, I don't want to go there. So we know now for a fact that the more you cook a piece of flesh, the more carcinogenic it becomes. Sorry, that's just the way it works. If you mix carcinogenic meat that's overcooked, and I'm talking if it starts like barbecue, if it gets crisp, oh my God, that black stuff, that stuff on there, that is cancer. Think about that. It is cancer. Leave it on your grill and it'll rot your grill because it'll rust it. It will eat it. It's cancer. Charcoal broiled flesh is what force in the universe would tell you to go eat an animal that got struck by lightning? The only way in the wild that we would ever have an opportunity to eat something so overcooked would be if it got struck by a lightning bolt, and then we dived on it and ripped off the black crystallized outer flesh to get to the meat inside, and we call that brisket or whatever the hell. Anyway, I love barbecue. I'm from Texas. I love the way it tastes. You have no idea how difficult it is for me when I got friends saying, hey man, we're all heading out to Opie's. Best barbecue on the planet. We're heading out to Opie's, man. We're going to go get some of the best brisket. We're going to chop up a bunch of sloppy joes and share them. We're going to get a couple buckets of beans. Dude, you got to meet us out there, brother. Spare ribs for miles. I miss those days. But I can't eat that stuff, man. The next day, I feel like freaking hell. Hell! And it takes forever to recover. You got meat and sugar and meat and overcooked meat all sitting in your gut, and it's just gonna ferment. You're going to create your own fermentation. And let me tell you, if you got any candida yeast or anything in your body, it's gonna go to party town when you do that. Then you drink some beer with that. Oh my God, let's give the yeast some more yeast. Alcohol. Oh man, yeast feeds off alcohol. Let's give it some more yeast. Alcohol is killing you. Ask any Muslim. They don't even allow alcohol in their religion because it's evil. It's killing you. A sip, maybe a glass of red wine if you have a perfect digestive system with absolutely no yeast issues, then you'll be fine. You can have a glass of wine a day. That's okay. You can have a beer, just like you can have a cup of coffee. You can do these things. You can survive. But you have to understand the relationship of what you're doing to your body and the percentages of what you're putting into your body. You can't just dump a bunch of nicotine, and a bunch of caffeine, and then a bunch of other crap, sugar. It's all the same thing. Don't you get it? When your body processes it, it can only process it based upon a few principles. There's only a few areas in your body where something can be placed. How you're going to use it, how you're going to store it. Is it going to your brain, your heart, your feet? Where is it going? Your bones. What's happening? Your hair. What are you going to use what you just ate? Where's it going? There's only a few places for it to go. Think about that for a little while. So, it's important what you put in your body. Take care of your body. Keep it simple. If somebody mixed it up in a bowl and had to add a bunch of chemicals to keep it from making you sick, why would you eat that? Why would you eat that? Doesn't mean you can't go out to eat. It just means be weary of the sauces. Be weary of the frying coating on something. Oh my God, I cannot tell you how horrible fried foods are for you. It causes an immediate reaction within your body that tells your body that you're dying of cancer. Did you know that? The second you put a fried food in your mouth, the free radicals trick your body into thinking you've got cancer. So all your body overreacts and goes insane trying to fix it. And if you eat fried food on a regular basis, you're not going to live past 70. Ask anyone from the South. They eat tons of fried food. It's ritual. It's religious. It's something they do. It's the most important thing in the world to them to eat fried foods. They even fry their tomatoes down here. That's why you don't meet a 100-year-old Southerner unless they're of a different race, because they don't eat that crap. I said I was going to make this quick, right? When you eat vegetables, and I think I've beaten it into your head that the vegetables are pulling the universe into themselves, and that's how they grow. If the universe is perfect for them, the water, the nutrients, the minerals, the bacteria in the soil, if all of that is perfect, then you have a perfect fruit. If not, then the farmer, whoever grew it, whether it's in your own backyard, you're going to have to fertilize it. You're going to have to use something on it to make it grow. How many people do you actually think are going to use 100% pure magnesium and potassium and use all those minerals and make it pure and know the ratios of what percentage of this and what percentage of that? They're going to overdose. They're going to put tons more than is necessary, and they're going to create big, huge tomatoes by doing that. Big, huge, giant cucumbers. And they get to say it's organic because they're not abusing anything artificial. They're using real minerals, real fish poop. They're using the real stuff, but they're not telling you that they're using so much of it that they're creating these horrifically bland-tasting, gigantic versions of something that grew prolifically on its own everywhere in the 1800s. Now, when you eat something like spinach or even cilantro, when you eat it, it pulls from your body The same that it pulls from the universe when it's planted in the ground. The plant doesn't know the difference. You ever heard of foliar feeding? Okay. Foliar feeding means the plant pulls the same nutrients from its leaves and its roots. It's foliar feeding from its foliage, right? So you put nutrients in a spray bottle and spray your plant, it'll absorb those nutrients through its leaves. It does the same with its roots, and the roots keep growing and reaching until they find those nutrients. That in itself weakens the plant because it's spending so much time with its root structure trying to find nutrients that it spends less time with its uproot structure growing up into the world that will eventually hopefully create flowers and fruit. But it has less energy to do that because it's spending so much energy down in the ground. Now, when you eat something like carrot's a good example. When you eat something like this, it's going to pull those same nutrients from you. That's right. It's going to pull those nutrients from you. Things like spinach are difficult to digest, so it sits in your digestive system, pulling out calcium. Do we want something in our body pulling out calcium? It pulls out magnesium. It pulls out iron. And then you poop, because it's fiber. Fiber gets pooped out. Remember that. Meats do not get pooped out. Fiber gets pooped out. That's why it pushes the meat. It pushes things through your digestive system, allowing it to get absorbed. But it itself is like a big wad of grass. The best way to understand fiber is to take a pretty good size piece of celery. Now remember, celery needs to be cleaned really, really well with a brush because all those grooves, bacteria, molds, yeasts, things can get in there and they can make you sick. Very, very, very bad stuff. So clean it with a brush, like a toenail brush. Ooh, did I use the word toenail and fruit and vegetables in the same sentence? No, you know what I mean. So clean it with a brush, a nail brush that you only use for your fruit, or a fruit brush. They make those too. But you can get, a fingernail brush for 50 cents at the dollar store. It's the same thing. Just clean really well. And eat that, but don't swallow it. Just chew. Keep chewing, and you'll make what's called celery gum. I used to love it as a kid. My grandfather used to always tell me, just chew up some celery and keep chewing and chewing. You'll get to a point where you can't chew any more of it. It just won't ever go away. You'll always have this little ball of fiber in your mouth. Fiber. That's fiber. So when you eat it, your digestive system, everything can't do anything about the fiber. So the fiber passes through. So if this is the pipes and there's stuff in there and you got that little ball of fiber, that celery ball coming through, it's going to push that stuff through the intestines. If it's meat, something like that, then it's going to be absorbed. If it's a grain or something, some of it will be absorbed. That's the gluten. And then the grain itself will act as fiber and push more things through. Too much fiber causes serious problems. So always make sure your pipes are clear and clean before you do too much fibrous stuff. All right, that's enough. You understand now. You eat the fruits, you eat the vegetables. They were absorbing things out in the world. Now they're going to absorb things out of your body before you poop them out. Hope that makes sense. Take care.